Good morning, children. Join soon. And as soon as you join the class, please send your attendance in your WhatsApp group. 9K in 9K WhatsApp group and 9B in 9B WhatsApp group. Okay? Join soon, children. Now, children, we are in the last module of the chapter, Is Matter Around Us Pure? In this chapter, we have studied so far that what are pure substances and impure substances. Impure substances are the mixtures in which two or more pure substances are added and their proportion is not fixed. Okay? There are two types of mixtures based on their properties. First is homogeneous mixture and the other is heterogeneous mixture. In the homogeneous mixture, there is only one phase. That means the two substances or more than two substances when mixed, they form one. They mix completely and they show uniform composition throughout. On the other hand, in heterogeneous mixture, the components which are mixed, they form separate layers. For example, when we prepared solution of chalk powder in water, although when we mixed and we stirred the chalk powder within the glass containing water, it seemed that the chalk powder has dissolved. But when we left that chalk powder dissolved in water undisturbed for some time, we observed that the chalk powder settled at the bottom, leaving water at the top. Understand? This means that they form separate layers. Such mixtures which form separate layers or two phases, two or more phases, they are called heterogeneous mixtures. Homogeneous mixtures are quite stable because when they are left undisturbed for some time, they do not separate out, and they cannot be separated by physical methods such as filtration. On the other hand, the components of heterogeneous mixtures can be separated easily by the physical methods such as filtration. Okay, children? Then we have seen the solution. Solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. When we talk about a true solution means a solution which contains particles. Their size range is less than 1 nanometer. Their size range is less than 1 nanometer, and they cannot scatter the beam of light. They cannot scatter the beam of light, and hence the path of the light in the true solution is not visible. And thus we can say that true solutions do not show Tyndall effect. On the other hand, colloidal solution and suspension, since the particle size is greater than 1 nanometer, the particle size in colloidal solution ranges from 1 nanometer to 100 nanometer, and in the suspension it is more than 100 nanometer. So the particles are quite larger, so that they scatter the beam of light and hence make the path of light visible. So both colloidal solution as well as suspension, they show Tyndall effect. Is it clear? Then we have seen the types of colloidal solutions. Colloidal solutions, the dispersion medium, dispersed phase, types of colloidal solutions, emulsion, then gel, foam, etc. That table you might have made in your notebook, and you have to learn that table with examples. Okay. Then we were discussing the separation techniques. Separation techniques to separate the components of a mixture. Okay. So till now we have discussed. First was the method to separate dye from ink. Dye is a volatile. Dye is a non-volatile solute dissolved in water, which is volatile component. So let us understand what are volatile and what is non-volatile component. The component which, when heated, forms vapors and vaporizes, it is called volatile component. So when we heat ink, the dye remains in the solution and water gets evaporated. In this manner, we can separate the dye from ink by simple evaporation. That we have seen the previous week. Okay. Then second, we had separated a mixture of two Immiscible liquids. Immiscible liquids are such liquids which do not mix well with one another. For example, ink. For example, oil and water. Oil. Have you ever seen oil and water mixed with one another? When they are mixed, they form separate layers because the densities are different. Water is more denser than oil, so oil floats on the surface of water. Understand? So they can be easily separated by decantation or by using a separating funnel. That also we have seen. Okay. Then the third one, we have seen how to separate cream from milk. Cream from milk. First of all, let us understand what is milk. Milk is a colloidal solution in which fat globules are dispersed in water. Fat globules are dispersed in water, and hence it is a colloidal solution. It is also called emulsion. It is also called emulsion. Emulsion is a colloidal solution in which two immiscible liquids are mixed with one another. Okay. Now, how to separate cream from milk? This is very easy. When we rotate the milk at a very high speed, then the lighter component will come at the surface and the heavier component will be forced to remain at the bottom. Okay, this happens due to the difference in their densities once again. This is called centrifugation. What is this process called in the centrifugation? Centrifugation is the technique to separate the lighter components from the heavier components when it is spun at a very high speed. When it is spun at a very high speed, okay, children. Then this technique is also used to separate the different components of blood, urine tests, or stool tests. Okay, and this is also used to squeeze out water from the cloth in washing machine. This technique is also used in washing machine to squeeze out water from the cloth. Okay. Then the next one, we have also seen how to separate different pigments of a dye through the process called chromatography. Chromatography is a technique by which we can separate the different colors in a dye. Usually, children, when we talk about the ink, it is single color, but it is not a single colored ink. It consists of many colors. Although it appears blue or black, but it is a mixture of different colors. So, how to separate those colors? I have shown you that we will take a piece of paper and we will make a mark on it and we will put a one drop of ink from there. Okay, and then we will drop that water near to the water. Drop that piece of paper near to the water, and thus the water will rise into capillary action. Water will rise into capillary action, making the different components of the dye separate. The component which is more soluble in water will move faster, and the component which is less soluble will move at a lower speed, and thus it gets separated. This phenomenon you can observe in the rainy season. Suppose when you go from school and in the park there is rainfall and your notebooks they get wet. Sometimes you might have seen that the ink gets spread, and the different components which is used to separate the different components in which all the components are soluble in a particular solvent like water. Understand? So this technique is based on differential solubility of colors in the same solvent. Okay. So this technique was initially used to separate colors from dye. So this is known as chromatography. Chroma means color. Chroma means. So these four techniques we have studied. Now we are going to study some more techniques to separate a mixture of two miscible liquids, to separate different components of air. These two separation techniques you will see, and then we will move on to the elements, compounds, and mixtures. Okay, children? So are you ready? Okay. So we have revised the whole chapter, and this is the last module of the chapter. So separation techniques, the two separation techniques that are remaining today we will finish them. Okay. This is the technique. Separation of mixture of two miscible liquids. Write down. Separation of mixture of miscible liquids. Miscible liquids. ठीक है, देखो बच्चों, जब हमने इमिसिबल लिक्विड्स की बात करी थी तो वो तो बहुत इजी थी, बिकॉज जब हम लोग एक दूसरे में उनको मिक्स करते थे और थोड़ी देर के बाद वो अपने आप ही सेपरेट लेयर बना लेते थे, सो इट वाज वेरी इजी टू सेपरेट दिस. बट व्हाट अबाउट टू सेपरेट mixture of acetone and water, for example? Acetone and water. Acetone and water are completely miscible. Acetone and water are completely miscible. So how to separate them? Can you suggest any method to separate acetone and water, or water and vinegar? Water and vinegar, the most common chemicals that we use in our house to prepare pickles. So water and vinegar. Can you suggest any method? Can you suggest that? If you know the separation, if you know the name of the separation technique, please tell me. Please answer through live chat. The separation technique used to separate a mixture of two miscible liquids like acetone and water, or water and vinegar. Can you tell me? No one is giving response. Why? Yes, children. Melvin, बताओ बेटा. Okay, can you guess, is it easy or difficult to separate miscible liquids or immiscible liquids? Immiscible liquids हमने देखा. Very good. Yeah. Vineet, yes. Vineet has answered distillation. Manali has answered distillation. Very good. So distillation. So we are going to study what is distillation. Okay, children. So let us dive down the name of the technique, distillation. तो देखो बेटा, पहले मैं आपको बता दूं डिस्टिलेशन होता क्या. See what happens. Suppose we have two liquids, and liquids have a characteristic property called boiling point. What's the boiling point? So each liquid has its characteristic boiling point at which or beyond which it starts boiling. So suppose let us take example water. What is the boiling point of water? It is 100 degrees Celsius. So if we heat the water, the temperature of water will reach to 100 degrees Celsius, and if further we heat it, the temperature will not increase, rather the water will get converted into vapors. Understand? So the temperature at which the liquid starts boiling or liquid starts forming its vapor is called boiling point. So two liquids will be having two different boiling points. Okay? So two different boiling points. Suppose there are two liquids A and B. So the boiling point of liquid A is 20 degrees Celsius. So we will heat the mixture. In a distillation flask. And keep the temperature 20 degrees Celsius. Keep the temperature constant at 20 degrees Celsius, and we will wait until all the vapors of liquid forms. Okay? Then they are collected at a different container and they are condensed to obtain particular liquid. Then we will heat again. We will increase the temperature so that liquid B also evaporates. In this manner, the two liquids are separated out. Okay, children? Let us write the definition. This is a technique to separate mixture of miscible liquids which differ in their boiling points, at least 25 डिग्री सेल्सियस। ठीक है, अब 25 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे क्यों होना चाहिए? बिकॉज इफ वी हीट लो देन समटाइम्स देयर आर impurities in the solid, they may, सपोज आपने देखा होगा वाटर एग्जैक्टली 100 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे बॉयल करना शुरू नहीं करता है, वो 92 93 से बॉयल करना शुरू हो जाता है। तो अगर इनका डिफरेंस 2 या 3 डिग्री सेल्सियस है तो दोनों लिक्विड्स के वेपर्स बनना स्टार्ट हो जाएंगे बच्चों, दोनों लिक्विड्स के वेपर बनना स्टार्ट हो जाएंगे। तो हमारा जो पर्पस था, हमारा पर्पस क्या था? ताकि दोनों लिक्विड्स को सेपरेट कर दे, तो वो हमारा एम या फुलफिल होगा नहीं होगा। समझा? इसको कम से कम 25 डिग्री सेल्सियस का गैप होना चाहिए। क्या होना चाहिए? 25 डिग्री सेल्सियस का उनमें गैप होना चाहिए। ठीक है, you can refer to the figure 2.9 of your NCERT textbook 21, page number 21. You can refer to the figure of distillation. Okay. Now there is another technique called fractional distillation. Fractional distillation. अगर लिक्विड्स के बीच में बॉइलिंग पॉइंट का टेम्परेचर का बॉइलिंग पॉइंट का जो डिफरेंस है वो 25 डिग्री सेल्सियस से कम है, तो कौन सी टेक्निक यूज होती है? दिस टेक्निक इज यूज्ड टू सेपरेट miscible liquids whose boiling points are closer than 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, so you can see the figure of this fractional column in page number 22 on figure 2.10. You have to draw the figures for the figures of distillation and fractional distillation. Okay. Very few number of children have joined the class. Please, all of you join. Class 9th A, 9th B. Why you have not joined the class? Now I am going to the separation of different components of air. एयर में हमने देखा था कंपोजिशन क्लास 6 में देखी थी कि नहीं? क्या क्या होता है एयर में? बेसिकली 21% ऑक्सीजन होगा क्लियरली एंड 78% हाइड्रोजन। तो उनको कैसे करेंगे? So first of all, what we will do? Air is a homogeneous mixture. What is that? Air is a homogeneous mixture. Air mixture. Note down homogeneous mixture of gases, mainly nitrogen 21% and nitrogen 78%. Oxygen is 21%. Nitrogen is 78%. How much? Nitrogen 78% and oxygen is equal to 21%. Okay, children? So this is it is a homogeneous mixture. So how to separate them? What we will do, children? Suppose air is a homogeneous, no? Air is a homogeneous. What we will do? We will compress the air. We will compress the air by applying pressure and cool it cool it by reducing the temperature. So what will happen? Air will turn into liquid. Air will turn into liquid and liquid oxygen होगा, liquid nitrogen होगा कि नहीं? Liquid oxygen अलग होगा, liquid nitrogen होगा. But now we will heat this liquid. We will heat this liquid. तो जब heat करेंगे तो different gases will form their vapors at a different temperature. Boiling point. उनकी boiling point पे वो अपना vapors बनाएंगे and those vapors are collected separately. Understand? तो सबसे पहले क्या करेंगे हम लोग? First of all, we will compress the air by applying pressure and reducing the temperature to cool it. Thus, we will get liquid air, or we will get liquid air in which mixture of gases will be there. Then this liquid mixture is heated. This liquid mixture is heated, and when this is heated, we will get different gases at different temperatures according to their boiling points. Okay, children? So this is how we can separate different components of it. Okay, children? Step 1. Compress air by applying pressure and decreasing the temperature. Okay? Decreasing the temperature. तो क्या मिल जाएगा हमें? लिक्विड मिल जाएगा. We will get liquid. Liquid air. ओके. अब ये जो लिक्विड एयर है, इसका सेकंड क्या करेंगे हम लोग? Step 2. This liquid air is warmed slowly in a fractionating column. The gases will boil at different temperatures depending upon their boiling points. depending upon their boiling points, depending upon their boiling point, and thus get separated. Thus get separated. Thus get separated. Okay? Now you can look at the textbook. They have given boiling point of oxygen. It is minus 183 degrees Celsius, argon minus 186 degrees Celsius, and nitrogen minus 196 degrees Celsius. So which gas will form the vapors? First, it will be nitrogen. Nitrogen सबसे पहले वेपर बनाएगा, फिर आर्गन और फिर ऑक्सीजन. Okay, children? Now there is a technique to separate crystals, pure crystals. Have you noticed, children? Now the last separation technique will be crystallization that we will see. Have you noted first? You tell me. Have you noted? Have you noted? Please tell me so that we can move forward. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to run. 7 separation technique. Seventh one, separation of pure copper sulfate crystals, from an impure sample. तो इसमें हम लोग क्या करेंगे, देखो मैं बता दूं आपको तरीका. This process is known as crystallization. What is this process known as? Crystallization. The process is known as crystallization. What we will do, children? We will simply take water in a beaker and dissolve the given sample in minimum amount of water, to get saturated solution. To get what? Saturated solution. Saturated solution. We will also जो impurities filter करने लायक होगी उनको filter कर देंगे. Filter the impurities. उसके बाद take this solution in a china dish and cover it by a filter paper. Filter paper. And leave it undisturbed. And leave it undisturbed for a day. For a day or more. एक दिन या 2 दिन तक रख दो उसको. So what will be observed? After that, you will get crystals of pure copper sulfate in the china dish. The china dish. This process is called crystallization. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Crystallization. समझ में आ रहा है? Note down. Note down. Crystallization में क्या क्या करना होता है? नोट कर लीजिए. So it is a technique to separate pure solid from its solution. This is a technique to separate pure solid from its solution. Okay? This technique is better than evaporation because अगर हम evaporation में ज़्यादा heat कर देते हैं ना तो क्या हो जाता है? जैसे चीनी का सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन रहता है और हीट कर देंगे ज़्यादा तो वो क्या हो जाएगा? चार्ज हो जाएगा, वो कार्बन में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा. That is why crystallization is better than evaporation. और क्रिस्टलाइजेशन में डिकम्पोजिशन नहीं होता है. क्या नहीं होता है? डिकम्पोजिशन. जैसा क्रिस्टल है वैसा ही आपको मिल जाएगा. तो crystallization technique is used to separate salt that is obtained from seawater. It is also used to separate elements or factory. Okay. You will see the water purification system in the figure 2.13. Figure 2.13. Water, first of all, it is taken from the reservoir. First of all, the solids are allowed to settle. Then the lighter components which remain suspended are still they are passed on to the loading tank where they are separated out. Then filtration tank, then chlorination to kill the harmful organisms like bacteria, and then water becomes pure and it is supplied to our homes. Okay, this is how water gets purified. Okay, children? So have you noted this? Have you noted distillation, children? Hurry up. Now there are two types of changes in the universe, there are two types of changes. One is physical changes and the other are chemical changes. So, children, the properties of a substance like color, shape, size, state, texture, all these are physical properties. All these are what? Physical properties. So, any change in one of these properties is called a physical change. It's called a physical change. For example, tearing of a paper. We tear the paper into two pieces. Our internal composition of the paper remains the same, but its size changes. Similarly, when we heat water and water gets converted into vapors, it is again a physical change because state is changing. Liquid gets converted into vapor. So the state changes from the liquid to the gaseous state. Again, it is a physical change because state is a physical property. Understand? On the other hand, the internal composition of substance is called a chemical property. Internal composition. And any change in the internal composition of a substance, formation of a new substance using a change, it is called a chemical change. Okay? This we have studied in class 7th also. Okay? So it is a recapitulation that physical change and chemical change. Let us write down. Physical and chemical change. Physical change and chemical change. Properties of substance like properties of a substance like of properties of matter like color, shape, size, state, density, melting point, boiling point, etc. etc. are called physical properties. Physical properties and any change in one of these properties, is called physical change. It's called what? Physical change. For example, when we heat water, it turns into vapors. In this state changes, state of water changes, and hence it is a physical change, and hence it is a physical change. It is a physical. Okay. The internal, the internal composition, the internal composition of the substance is defined by its chemical property. For example, both water and kerosene are liquid, Their physical properties are same. Both water and kerosene are liquid, but they are chemically different. They are chemically different because water extinguishes fire. पानी आग को रोकता है कि नहीं? Extinguishes fire. While kerosene burns in air. Kerosene burns in air. Understand? So any change in the chemical composition forms the chemical change. Any change in the chemical property is called chemical change. Chemical change और chemical reaction. Chemical change को हम लोग chemical reaction ही बोलते हैं. ठीक है? Note down. Now, in the question, in text questions with blue ink, they have asked you to classify the changes as physical or chemical. Are you getting? On page number 24. Page number 24. Page number 24. Okay. Page number 24 पे देखो बेटा. Cutting of trees is a physical change. Cutting of trees is a physical change. Are you getting or not? Then melting of butter in a pan. Melting of butter. Butter solid है और वो लिक्विड में कन्वर्ट हो रहा है. लिक्विड में कन्वर्ट हो रहा है का मतलब क्या हो गया? लिक्विड में कन्वर्ट हो रहा है इसका मतलब स्टेट चेंज हो रहा है ना, सॉलिड से लिक्विड. तो क्या स्टेट मतलब फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टी. क्या बेटा? फिजिकल चेंज. मेल्टिंग ऑफ बटर इन ए पैन इज आल्सो अ फिजिकल चेंज. रस्टिंग ऑफ अलमीरा. रस्टिंग ऑफ अलमीरा. अलमीरा मतलब जैसे देखो हार्ड सब्सटेंस है और रस्ट क्या होता है? पोरस सब्सटेंस. फॉर्मेशन ऑफ अ न्यू सब्सटेंस. So it is a chemical change. Rusting of almirah is a chemical change. Then boiling of water to form steam. Again बताया था मैंने. Boiling of water is अच्छा, last line is not visible. When we heat water, it turns into vapor. In this state of water changes and hence it is a physical change. ठीक है? अब next, passing of electric current, water, hydrogen और oxygen में breakdown होता है, तो it is a chemical change. It is a chemical change. Dissolving common salt in water, it is a physical change. Making a fruit salad, it is also a physical change. Burning of paper and wood, burning of anything is a chemical change. Burning of anything is a chemical change. Okay? Write down in your notebook these changes, classify the changes. Classify the changes. Changes as physical or chemical. Okay? Now, repeat this, student. अब देखते बेटा एलिमेंट और कंपाउंड क्या होते हैं एलिमेंट्स एंड कंपाउंड्स एलिमेंट्स we all know that matter is something that occupies space and has some mass and matter is made up of very small particles called atoms. So element is similar kind of atoms. Similar kind of atoms from an element. For example, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, etc. Antoine Laurent Lavoisier defined element as basic form of matter that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by chemical means. Chemical reaction. Then children, elements are of three types: metals, metalloids, and non-metals. The characteristic properties of metals and non-metals we have studied in class 8. Let us recapitulate those properties. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Metals have shiny appearance. Metals have shiny appearance. Metals are sonorous. That means they produce ringing sound when hit. Then metals are malleable and ductile. Malleable means that they can be beaten into thin sheets, and ductility means they can be drawn into thin wires. Okay, these are the properties of metals. And for example, metals: iron, copper, aluminium, tin. These are all metals. And non-metals are such elements which show some properties like they are dull, they are not hard, they are soft, they are mostly gases or liquids. Okay, they are non-sonorous, they are non-malleable, non-ductile, they are brittle. Okay, for example, bromine, chlorine, iodine, chlorine, etc. These all are non-metals. But there are some other elements which show intermediate properties. That means they show properties of metals, transition properties of metals and non-metals. They are called metalloids. For example, boron, silicon, germanium, etc. And compounds. Now let us write compounds. Compounds. Compounds, when two or more elements, when two or more elements react chemically in a fixed proportion, in a fixed proportion, they form compound. They form what? Compound. Okay, children? For example, H2 plus O, they form H2O. Okay? C plus O2, they form CO2. Okay? Na plus Cl, they form Na. These are all compounds. Their proportion remains the same. Two atoms of hydrogen combine with one atom of oxygen to form water. One atom of carbon combines with two atoms of oxygen to form carbon dioxide. One atom of sodium combines with one atom of chlorine to form sodium chloride. So these are compounds. Okay, children? They show the properties unique. They do not show the properties of hydrogen, nor they show the properties of oxygen. Properties of water will be entirely different from that of either oxygen or hydrogen. Understand? But say for example, we can say this water is liquid, whether on the other hand, oxygen and hydrogen both are gases. Understand? So compounds में जो constituting elements है, उनकी properties use हो जाती है, and compound has their new properties. Okay, children? So this is the difference. So with this we have come to end of this chapter. We will read this table, flow charts that they have shown, the differences between homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures, elements, compounds. Okay, this you can read at home. Okay, children. Now I am giving some questions related to what I have taught. These questions are to be done in a sheet of paper and keep it with you. Okay, children? And you can complete the exercise of this chapter in your notebook. Question number 1. What is distribution? Question number 2. Differentiate between elements and compounds. elements and components. Question number 3. How will you separate different components of air? Different components of air. So these are the 3 questions, children, that you need to solve in a sheet of paper and keep it with you. And complete the NCERT exercise of this chapter. Is it clear? Have you noted the questions, children? Note down these questions. Note down.
बंद कर दिया क्या?
Yes, children. Now I am ending up the session. I hope you all have noted the question. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you and have a nice day. Keep studying at home.